Reach high, aim high, and obtain. As everyone knows, I always like to, if there's a possibility for helping you guys and myself with getting even better results from yogurt, I'm gonna share it. So I've been using this probiotic for years, and it's Ultimate Probiotics, and it's by the company Global Healing, and the owner of it is Dr. Group. And I'm gonna turn this over so you can see on here, towards the beginning of the list of ingredients, is the Bacillus subtilis, and then about a little bit further down it has Lactobacillus Gasseri, and then a little bit after that it says Lactobacillus Reuteri. So it's got the Bacillus subtilis, the L. Gasseri, and the L. Reuteri all in one product, already blended for us. And I've been taking this intermittently for years, just, to help my health and just in general. I think it's always good to provide oneself with a good plethora of different probiotics. Now, I do have, this is the older bottle that is the products. And you can see, just so you know, it is vegan, it's non-GMO. It's got probiotics in it that are fabulous, and you can see the count on it is fabulous as well. 100 billion CFU. I mean, how awesome is that? But on these, there hasn't really been a change. However, about 6 months ago, there was a change from where it historically had the spore-based part to now you don't see the spore-based part on the ingredients. So I called them up because it still had the Reuteri, it still had the Bacillus subtilis, and it still had the Gasseri. And I saw that the bottle still tended to have online this top section of ingredients. I called them up and I says, I've noticed this change in your product. What's happened? And they says, well, about 6 months ago, they did do a change. And occasionally they will change some of the ingredients, but the majority of them stay the same. And the reason for those changes is a few different things. One is if their sourcing can't guarantee the purity and the quality, they won't include it because they're so adamant about providing the best ingredients to their customers. If they're unable to get the quantity, they won't include it because they make this to have the perfect blend to help the body. And then lastly, if they can't trust their sourcing, they won't include it. But in general, it tends to stay unchanged, but with a few fluctuations, they said occasionally here and there. But in general, it tends to stay the same, which is why online, this top section I checked, the ingredients stayed the same. It's just the spore-based part went away. And so they said, that's why sometimes you may see fluctuations in the ingredients, but it shouldn't be substantial. It's not all the time. It's just because they want to guarantee the quality that they're giving their customer so that you can trust what they're giving to you. So that's how come there is a slight change. It's not 36 anymore, but who knows? They said that might come back too. It's just a question of, like I said, the quality, the quantity, and the sourcing, because they want to make sure that they always give their customers the best product and facilitate their health and their healing. Therefore, Global Healing, right, is the name of the company. But because it already has all the strains that you would typically use for SIBO, I said to myself, well, why in the world am I buying a Reuteri, a Gasseri, and a Bacillus subtilis strain when it's already in their product? It's already got that perfect blend of these other probiotics with it. So I'm like, why would I even bother buying all these extra strains and when I can find it in one product? So I says to myself, okay, so I did a test the other week where I used my SIBO starter and one of these. But I says, you know what? I think I need to help you guys and me discover if I can use one of the capsules here to start with, because it's got everything in it. Plus, and I think by having more strains, it's better for the gut, because I feel like if one just focuses on one strain or one probiotic approach, it's not as, I think, beneficial as what it is when one gets multiple strains, multiple cultures, because then it triggers a chain reaction of goodness in the gut of saying, oh, let me activate this so I can digest that and I can help with this. And I feel like that by giving it more, I'm giving it more healing to help facilitate nutrition uptake, absorption, and health. And they may bring things back. I think I like this better than the Reuteri and the SIBO. The flavor profile is better. And actually the other day I had something and it upset my stomach really bad. I actually took a little bit of this with some of our whole milk, stirred it together, and it actually settled my stomach.
And it was pretty much right away.
And it was almost like instantaneous. It fixed what was going on with my stomach. And usually I would go for my apple cider vinegar with water and a little bit of honey. But for some reason my instinct said, go for this. So I do my best to listen to my body and what it tells me. And it said, go for this. And it was like instantaneous. I think that was faster actually than the apple cider vinegar.
Yeah. Because
of
the
how quick
apple cider vinegar it takes a little bit of time.
Yeah, it takes a little bit.
It does pretty fast
does
results,
great.
but this was instantaneous.
Yeah, and you actually saw it. Since that moment, I have stayed dedicated in consuming this yogurt and have noticed substantial differences in myself, my family, and my friends that I have to share this with you guys. In myself, I've noticed huge energy changes, a restoration naturally to the biorhythms I had as a child, an enjoyment with life each time I wake up, joy, happiness, activities I hadn't been motivated to do in years are coming very easily and naturally to me, and my body is positively changing as well. The benefits being experienced are so phenomenal in myself and those around me that I knew I had to share this with you guys. So to start with, I'm showing you the list of the ingredients as they are currently in the product on Global Healing. And I'm going to follow that up with sharing with you guys the details behind every single item except the other ingredients portion at the very bottom. And this is just so awesome. The information that I discovered, I wanted to give you guys as much information as possible so you can truly see the powerhouse of including this in one's lifestyle, that this will happen. The 24 strains of probiotics found in Global Healing's Ultimate Probiotic Daily Full Spectrum Probiotic with Advanced Prebiotics at 100 billion CFU are a synergistic blend that benefits the body in many ways. The benefits provided by the 24 strains of probiotics in the product were more than could be covered in this video and are numerous. However, I have done my best to highlight each ingredient concisely for you to discover the initial impact such a powerful combination of ingredients can have in one's life. After going through the probiotic and prebiotic blend portions, I will then show you how I've created one of the most luxurious yogurts I have ever made to date and share with you just how awesome the results of using this approach will be. Enjoy.
Bacillus coagulans is a spore-forming probiotic that naturally exists in the gut microbiome. Unlike typical probiotics that die off in harsh stomach acid, this one survives the journey through the digestive system because it forms a protective spore coating. Think of it like a seed that activates when it reaches the intestines. This probiotic produces lactic acid once it arrives in the gut, which creates an environment where beneficial bacteria thrive and harmful bacteria struggle to survive. It essentially acts as a guardian for the digestive system, maintaining balance in the microbiome. The health benefits are substantial. First, it significantly improves digestive issues like bloating, gas, and irregular bowel movements. People with irritable bowel syndrome often see dramatic relief when supplementing with Bacillus coagulans. Second, it strengthens the immune system since about 70% of the immune cells live in the gut. A healthier gut directly translates to better immune function. Research shows it also helps reduce inflammation throughout the body, which is linked to numerous chronic conditions. Some studies indicate it can improve nutrient absorption, particularly proteins and minerals, meaning one gets more value from the food one eats. Bacillus coagulans are in certain fermented foods, though supplementation is more common and reliable. The typical effective dose ranges from 2 billion to 6 billion colony-forming units daily. It works well alongside other probiotics and is generally safe for most people. The key advantage over other probiotics is its stability. It survives manufacturing, storage, and the stomach acid, which means more of it actually reaches the intestines where it needs to work. This makes it one of the most effective probiotic options available for gut health. Bacillus subtilis DE111 is a soil-based probiotic strain that humans have consumed naturally for thousands of years through unwashed vegetables and contact with earth. This spore-forming bacteria survives cooking temperatures up to 200 degrees Fahrenheit and stomach acid, making it exceptionally resilient compared to traditional probiotics that often die before reaching the gut. Once DE111 arrives in the intestines, it germinates from its dormant spore state and begins producing digestive enzymes. These enzymes break down proteins, fats, and carbohydrates more efficiently, which means one extracts more nutrition from every meal while experiencing less bloating and digestive discomfort after eating. The functional power of DE111 lies in its ability to crowd out harmful bacteria. It produces antimicrobial compounds called bacteriocins that specifically target pathogenic organisms, while leaving beneficial bacteria untouched. This selective action helps restore balance to the microbiome without the harsh effects of antibiotics. Research shows DE111 significantly reduces symptoms of leaky gut by strengthening the intestinal barrier. When the gut lining is compromised, undigested food particles and toxins can enter the bloodstream, triggering inflammation throughout the body. DE111 helps seal these gaps, reducing systemic inflammation and supporting immune function. The immune benefits are substantial. Studies demonstrate that people taking DE111 experience fewer upper respiratory infections and recover faster when they do get sick. This happens because approximately 70% of the immune system resides in the gut, and a healthier gut means stronger immune responses. DE111 also produces B vitamins and vitamin K2 directly in the digestive tract. The typical effective dose is 1 billion colony-forming units daily. Because it remains stable at room temperature and survives digestion so effectively, DE111 represents one of the most practical probiotic options for maintaining long-term digestive and immune health. Lactobacillus paracasei naturally inhabits the mouth, intestines, and vaginal tract, forming part of the body's native bacterial defense system. It can also be in fermented dairy products like aged cheese, kefir, and yogurt, plus fermented vegetables like sauerkraut and kimchi. This probiotic has been part of human diets for centuries through traditional food preservation methods. Its primary function involves producing lactic acid and other antimicrobial substances that create an inhospitable environment for pathogenic bacteria. Lactobacillus paracasei adheres to the intestinal walls, forming a protective barrier that prevents harmful microbes from attaching and causing infection. It also modulates the immune system by communicating with immune cells in the gut lining. The digestive benefits are remarkable. This strain helps alleviate symptoms of irritable bowel syndrome, including abdominal pain, bloating, and irregular bowel movements. Clinical studies show it can reduce the duration and severity of diarrhea, whether caused by antibiotics, infections, or travel. People with lactose intolerance often experience improved digestion because Lactobacillus paracasei produces lactase, the enzyme needed to break down milk sugar. The immune system receives significant support from this probiotic. Research demonstrates it reduces the frequency of upper respiratory infections and shortens cold duration by enhancing natural killer cell activity. It also helps regulate inflammatory responses, potentially benefiting people with allergies and autoimmune conditions. Emerging research suggests Lactobacillus paracasei supports mental health through the gut-brain axis. Studies indicate it may reduce anxiety and improve mood by producing neurotransmitter precursors and reducing systemic inflammation that affects brain function. The strain also shows promise for oral health, reducing cavity-causing bacteria and decreasing gum inflammation. The typical effective dose ranges from 1 to 10 billion colony-forming units daily, available in supplements or through regular consumption of fermented foods. Lactococcus lactis is one of the oldest probiotics used by humans, naturally found in raw milk and plant materials. This bacteria is the workhorse behind fermented dairy products, including cheese, buttermilk, and cultured butter. For centuries, traditional food preservation relied on this microorganism to transform fresh milk into shelf-stable, nutritious foods. The primary function of Lactococcus lactis involves converting lactose into lactic acid through fermentation. This process not only preserves food, but also makes dairy products more digestible for people with lactose sensitivity. The bacteria produces enzymes that break down milk sugars before they reach the intestines, reducing gas, cramping, and digestive discomfort. What makes this strain remarkable is its ability to produce nisin, a natural antimicrobial peptide that destroys harmful bacteria without affecting beneficial gut flora. Nisin targets dangerous pathogens like Listeria and Staphylococcus, providing protection against foodborne illness while maintaining the microbiome balance. The immune benefits are significant. Lactococcus lactis stimulates cytokine production and enhances the activity of immune cells in the gut lining. Research shows it can reduce inflammation markers throughout the body, making it valuable for managing chronic inflammatory conditions. Some studies indicate it may help alleviate symptoms of inflammatory bowel disease by strengthening the intestinal barrier. Scientists have engineered certain strains of Lactococcus lactis to deliver therapeutic proteins directly to inflamed intestinal tissue, opening new possibilities for treating autoimmune conditions. The natural strains consumed through fermented foods support vitamin K2 production, which is essential for bone health and cardiovascular function. This probiotic also enhances mineral absorption, particularly calcium and magnesium from dairy products. The typical way to consume Lactococcus lactis is through fermented foods rather than supplements. Including these traditional foods in the diet several times weekly provides consistent exposure to this beneficial bacteria. Lactobacillus plantarum is one of the most versatile probiotics found in nature, naturally present in fermented vegetables like sauerkraut, pickles, and kimchi, as well as in sourdough bread, fermented olives, and some cheeses. It also exists on plant surfaces and in saliva, showing its widespread presence in environments humans interact with daily. This probiotic functions as a metabolic powerhouse in the gut. It produces lactic acid, hydrogen peroxide, and other antimicrobial substances that suppress harmful bacteria including E. coli, Candida, and Staphylococcus. Unlike many probiotics that pass through the system quickly, Lactobacillus plantarum can adhere to the intestinal walls and remain active for extended periods, providing ongoing protection. The digestive benefits are extensive. This strain effectively reduces symptoms of irritable bowel syndrome, including abdominal pain, bloating, and gas. It strengthens the intestinal barrier by increasing mucin production, the protective layer that shields the gut lining from damage. Studies show it can reduce inflammation in inflammatory bowel diseases and help restore balance after antibiotic use. Lactobacillus plantarum excels at breaking down complex nutrients that the body cannot digest alone. It produces enzymes that help metabolize proteins and carbohydrates, improving overall nutrient absorption. It also synthesizes essential vitamins including K2, B12, and folate, contributing directly to nutritional status. The immune benefits are impressive. This probiotic enhances natural killer cell activity and increases antibody production, reducing infection frequency and severity. Research indicates it may lower cholesterol levels by breaking down bile acids and preventing their reabsorption. Mental health connections are emerging too. Studies suggest Lactobacillus plantarum can reduce anxiety and improve mood through the gut-brain axis. The effective dose typically ranges from 1 to 10 billion colony-forming units daily for optimal digestive and immune support. Lactobacillus acidophilus naturally resides in the intestines, mouth, and vaginal tract as part of the native microbiome. It can also be in fermented dairy products like yogurt, kefir, and acidophilus milk, plus some fermented vegetables. This probiotic is one of the most studied and commonly supplemented strains, with decades of research supporting its role in human health. The primary function involves producing lactic acid and hydrogen peroxide, creating an acidic environment that harmful bacteria cannot tolerate. This pH shift actively suppresses pathogens like Candida albicans, E. coli, and Helicobacter pylori while allowing beneficial bacteria to flourish. It essentially acts as the gut's natural defense mechanism against invaders. Digestive health improvements are remarkable. Lactobacillus acidophilus produces lactase, the enzyme needed to digest lactose, making it particularly valuable for people with lactose intolerance. Regular supplementation reduces gas, bloating, and diarrhea while improving overall digestive comfort. It also helps restore gut balance after antibiotic treatment, which typically wipes out both harmful and beneficial bacteria indiscriminately. The vaginal health benefits are clinically proven. Women who supplement with Lactobacillus acidophilus experience fewer yeast infections and bacterial vaginosis episodes. It maintains proper vaginal pH and produces antimicrobial compounds that prevent pathogenic overgrowth, offering a natural alternative to repeated antifungal medications. Cholesterol management represents an unexpected benefit. Studies show Lactobacillus acidophilus can reduce LDL cholesterol levels by breaking down bile in the gut, forcing the body to use circulating cholesterol to produce more bile. Some users see reductions of 10 to 15% with consistent supplementation. Immune function gets a significant boost through enhanced antibody production and increased natural killer cell activity. Research indicates fewer respiratory infections and reduced allergy symptoms in regular users. The typical effective dose ranges from 1 to 10 billion colony-forming units daily for comprehensive health support. Lactobacillus casei naturally inhabits the intestines and mouth, forming part of the indigenous microbiome. It can be in fermented dairy products like aged cheddar cheese and some yogurt varieties, plus fermented vegetables and traditional pickles. This probiotic has been used in food fermentation for centuries and remains one of the most researched strains for health applications. This strain stands out for its remarkable survival capability. Lactobacillus casei withstands the acidic environment of the stomach and bile salts in the small intestine better than most probiotics, ensuring high numbers reach the colon where it performs its beneficial functions. It adheres strongly to intestinal walls, allowing it to colonize temporarily and interact extensively with the immune system. The digestive benefits are powerful. Lactobacillus casei produces lactic acid and enzymes that improve protein digestion and nutrient absorption. It effectively reduces diarrhea duration, particularly antibiotic-associated diarrhea that occurs when medications disrupt the natural gut flora. Studies show it can cut diarrhea duration by up to 50% when taken alongside antibiotics. The immune enhancement is scientifically impressive. This probiotic stimulates production of immunoglobulin A, the body's first line of defense against pathogens in mucous membranes. Research demonstrates regular supplementation reduces the incidence of respiratory infections, with some studies showing 20 to 30% fewer colds and flu episodes among consistent users. Lactobacillus casei shows promise for inflammatory conditions. Clinical trials indicate it can reduce inflammation markers in conditions like rheumatoid arthritis and inflammatory bowel disease. Some research suggests it helps regulate blood pressure by producing peptides that inhibit enzymes responsible for blood vessel constriction. The oral health benefits are noteworthy. This strain reduces cavity-causing bacteria in the mouth and may decrease the risk of dental caries. The typical effective dose ranges from 1 to 10 billion colony-forming units daily for comprehensive digestive, immune, and anti-inflammatory. Streptococcus thermophilus is a heat-loving probiotic essential to dairy fermentation, naturally found in raw milk and commonly used alongside other bacteria to produce yogurt, mozzarella, and Swiss cheese. Unlike most probiotics that prefer body temperature, this strain thrives at higher temperatures, making it uniquely suited for food production. It's consumed regularly when eating yogurt or cultured dairy products. The defining characteristic is its exceptional ability to break down lactose. Streptococcus thermophilus produces high levels of lactase enzyme, converting milk sugar into lactic acid rapidly. This makes yogurt and fermented dairy products significantly easier to digest for people with lactose intolerance, often allowing them to enjoy these foods without any discomfort. Once consumed, this probiotic continues working in the digestive system. It produces exopolysaccharides, beneficial compounds that coat and protect the intestinal lining, strengthening the gut barrier against toxins and pathogens. This protective layer reduces inflammation and helps prevent leaky gut syndrome, where harmful substances cross into the bloodstream. The immune benefits are noteworthy. Research shows Streptococcus thermophilus stimulates antibody production and enhances the activity of immune cells, particularly in the gut-associated lymphoid tissue. Studies indicate regular consumption can reduce the frequency and duration of respiratory infections and support faster recovery from gastrointestinal illnesses. Skin health represents an unexpected benefit. Clinical trials demonstrate this strain can improve conditions like eczema and atopic dermatitis when consumed regularly. The mechanism involves reducing systemic inflammation and supporting skin barrier function through the gut-skin axis connection. This probiotic also synthesizes folate and other B vitamins during fermentation, contributing to the nutritional intake. It works synergistically with other probiotics, enhancing their survival and effectiveness. The typical dietary exposure comes from eating yogurt containing at least 1 billion colony-forming units per serving, for optimal digestive comfort and immune support. Bifidobacterium animalis lactis is a powerful probiotic strain naturally found in the intestinal tracts of mammals, including humans. It's encountered primarily through fortified yogurts, fermented milk products, and probiotic supplements. This strain has become one of the most researched and commercially used probiotics worldwide due to its exceptional stability and proven health benefits. The survival capability of Bifidobacterium animalis lactis is outstanding. It withstands stomach acid, bile salts, and digestive enzymes better than most probiotic strains, ensuring high numbers reach the colon alive and active. Once there, it colonizes the intestinal lining and begins producing acetic and lactic acids that lower gut pH and inhibit pathogenic bacteria growth. The digestive benefits are clinically proven. This strain excels at relieving constipation by increasing stool frequency and improving consistency without causing diarrhea. Studies show it can reduce transit time through the digestive system by up to 30%, providing relief within just 1 week of daily consumption. It also significantly reduces bloating and abdominal discomfort. Immune enhancement is a standout benefit. Research demonstrates Bifidobacterium animalis lactis increases the production of natural antibodies and enhances the activity of white blood cells. Clinical trials involving thousands of participants show regular users experience 20 to 27% fewer cold and flu infections, with shorter duration and milder symptoms when illness does occur. The metabolic benefits deserve attention. This probiotic improves glucose metabolism and insulin sensitivity, potentially helping manage blood sugar levels. Some studies indicate it may support healthy weight management by influencing fat storage and appetite regulation hormones. Oral health research shows surprising benefits. Bifidobacterium animalis lactis reduces cavity-causing bacteria in the mouth and may decrease gum inflammation. The typical effective dose ranges from 1 to 10 billion colony-forming units daily, with most clinical studies using higher doses for maximum digestive regularity and immune protection. Lactobacillus gasseri naturally inhabits the intestinal tract, vaginal canal, and breast milk, making it one of the first beneficial bacteria infants receive during breastfeeding. It can be in fermented foods like certain yogurts and kefir, though it occurs less commonly in commercial products than other Lactobacillus strains. This probiotic has gained significant attention for its unique metabolic benefits that extend beyond typical digestive support. The adhesion capability of Lactobacillus gasseri is exceptional. It attaches firmly to the intestinal walls and can persist for extended periods, sometimes remaining active for weeks after stopping supplementing. This sustained colonization allows it to provide longer-lasting benefits compared to transient probiotic strains that pass through quickly. The weight management benefits are what make this strain truly distinctive. Multiple clinical studies show Lactobacillus gasseri specifically reduces visceral fat, the dangerous abdominal fat surrounding the organs. Research participants taking this probiotic daily for 12 weeks experienced significant reductions in belly fat, waist circumference, and body weight without changing diet or exercise habits. It appears to work by reducing fat absorption and increasing fat excretion. Digestive benefits include powerful suppression of Helicobacter pylori, the bacteria causing stomach ulcers and gastritis. Studies demonstrate Lactobacillus gasseri can reduce H. pylori populations by up to 50%, alleviating symptoms like heartburn, bloating, and stomach pain. It also produces antimicrobial compounds that inhibit other pathogenic bacteria while supporting beneficial flora. Vaginal health represents another major advantage for women. This strain maintains optimal vaginal pH and prevents bacterial vaginosis and yeast infections more effectively than many other probiotics. Women using Lactobacillus gasseri report fewer recurring infections and improved overall vaginal comfort. The metabolic effects extend to cholesterol management. Research indicates it can lower LDL cholesterol and triglyceride levels, while potentially improving insulin sensitivity. The typical effective dose ranges from 1 to 10 billion colony-forming units daily for weight management and comprehensive health support. Saccharomyces boulardii is a tropical yeast probiotic originally isolated from lychee and mangosteen fruit in Southeast Asia. Unlike bacterial probiotics, this is a beneficial yeast that functions differently in the body. Exclusively in supplement form since it does not naturally occur in fermented foods or the human microbiome, making it a transient probiotic that works while present, but does not permanently colonize the gut. The unique advantage of being a yeast is antibiotic resistance. While antibiotics destroy bacterial probiotics, Saccharomyces boulardii remains completely unaffected, making it the ideal probiotic to take during antibiotic treatment. It prevents antibiotic-associated diarrhea by maintaining microbial balance, while medications eliminate harmful and beneficial bacteria alike. The primary function involves producing enzymes that break down toxins produced by pathogenic bacteria. It specifically neutralizes toxins from Clostridium difficile, the dangerous bacteria causing severe hospital-acquired diarrhea. Clinical studies show it reduces C. diff infection rates by over 50% when taken preventatively, and accelerates recovery when infections occur. Diarrhea treatment represents its strongest benefit. Research demonstrates Saccharomyces boulardii effectively treats acute diarrhea from various causes, including viral infections, traveler's diarrhea, and inflammatory bowel disease flare-ups. It typically reduces diarrhea duration by 24 to 48 hours and decreases stool frequency significantly within days of starting supplementation. The intestinal barrier strengthening is substantial. This probiotic increases secretory IgA production, the gut's primary immune defense, and enhances tight junction proteins that seal intestinal walls. It also stimulates enzyme production that aids digestion and nutrient absorption. Anti-inflammatory properties benefit conditions like Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis. Studies show it reduces inflammatory markers and helps maintain remission in inflammatory bowel disease patients. The typical effective dose ranges from 250 to 500 milligrams twice daily, equivalent to 5 to 10 billion organisms. Results often appear within 48 to 72 hours for acute conditions. Lactobacillus fermentum naturally inhabits the mouth, intestines, and vaginal tract, establishing itself early in life through breastfeeding and environmental exposure. It can be in fermented foods like sourdough bread, kimchi, sauerkraut, and certain fermented beverages. This probiotic has unique properties that set it apart, particularly its exceptional ability to produce antioxidants and support immune function. The antioxidant production is what makes Lactobacillus fermentum extraordinary. It generates glutathione and superoxide dismutase, powerful antioxidants that neutralize free radicals and reduce oxidative stress throughout the body. This antioxidant activity protects cells from damage and may slow aging processes at the cellular level, making it particularly valuable for overall health maintenance. The primary function involves producing antimicrobial compounds, including hydrogen peroxide and bacteriocins that inhibit pathogenic bacteria, fungi, and viruses. Research shows it effectively combats E. coli, Salmonella, Candida, and even some antibiotic-resistant strains, providing broad-spectrum protection without the side effects of conventional antimicrobials. Immune enhancement stands out as a major benefit. Studies demonstrate Lactobacillus fermentum significantly boosts immune cell activity, particularly in athletes and people under physical stress. Research on endurance athletes shows supplementation reduces upper respiratory infection rates by up to 50% during intense training periods. It also decreases recovery time after strenuous exercise. Cholesterol management represents another valuable property. Clinical trials indicate this strain can lower LDL cholesterol and triglyceride levels, while potentially increasing beneficial HDL cholesterol. The mechanism involves breaking down bile salts, forcing the body to use circulating cholesterol to produce new bile. Women benefit from enhanced vaginal health. Lactobacillus fermentum maintains optimal pH balance and prevents pathogenic overgrowth that causes infections. The iron absorption improvement is noteworthy, as this probiotic increases bioavailability of dietary iron, making it particularly helpful for people with anemia or iron deficiency. The typical effective dose ranges from 1 to 10 billion colony-forming units daily for comprehensive immune and antioxidant support. Bacillus clausii is a spore-forming probiotic naturally found in soil and certain fermented foods, though the CSI-08 munispore strain represents a specifically cultivated variant optimized for therapeutic use. This probiotic has been used medically in Europe for decades to treat gastrointestinal disorders, and is particularly valued for its exceptional survival capabilities and antibiotic resistance properties. The spore-forming ability makes Bacillus clausii extraordinarily resilient. These protective spores shield the bacteria through extreme pH levels, heat, and digestive enzymes, ensuring nearly 100% survival through the stomach acid. Once the spores reach the intestines, they germinate into active bacteria that colonize the gut and begin producing beneficial compounds. What makes this strain exceptional is its natural resistance to multiple antibiotics. Unlike most probiotics that antibiotics destroy, Bacillus clausii thrives alongside antibiotic treatment, making it the ideal companion therapy. Studies show taking it during and after antibiotic courses prevents gut dysbiosis, significantly reduces antibiotic-associated diarrhea, and helps restore healthy microbiome balance up to 50% faster. The immune modulation benefits are powerful. Research demonstrates Bacillus clausii increases production of interferon and immunoglobulins, enhancing the body's ability to fight viral and bacterial infections. Clinical trials show children taking this probiotic experience fewer respiratory infections, reduced fever duration, and faster recovery from illness. Digestive benefits extend beyond diarrhea prevention. This strain produces digestive enzymes and antimicrobial substances that suppress pathogenic bacteria, including Salmonella, E. coli, and Staphylococcus aureus. It also strengthens intestinal barrier integrity, reducing inflammation and preventing toxins from crossing into the bloodstream. The vitamin synthesis capability is noteworthy. Bacillus clausii produces B vitamins, including B1, B2, B6, and B12, directly contributing to nutritional status. This is particularly valuable after antibiotic treatment when vitamin-producing gut bacteria are depleted. The typical effective dose ranges from 2 to 4 billion spores daily, with benefits appearing within days for acute conditions. Bacillus coagulans lactospore is a patented spore-forming probiotic strain originally isolated from fermented foods and now produced through controlled fermentation. Unlike the generic Bacillus coagulans species, lactospore represents a specific, extensively researched strain with documented stability and clinical efficacy. This probiotic has gained prominence in the supplement industry due to its exceptional heat tolerance and proven therapeutic benefits. The spore-forming capability gives lactospore a significant advantage over conventional probiotics. These protective spores remain dormant through manufacturing, storage, stomach acid, and bile exposure, germinating only when they reach the intestinal environment. This results in delivery rates approaching 100%, compared to traditional probiotics where most bacteria die before reaching their target destination. The primary function involves producing L+ lactic acid, the naturally occurring form the body metabolizes most efficiently. This lactic acid creates an acidic intestinal environment that beneficial bacteria thrive in, while pathogenic organisms cannot survive. The strain also produces digestive enzymes, including amylase, protease, and lipase that break down carbohydrates, proteins, and fats more effectively. The digestive relief is rapid and measurable. Clinical studies show lactospore significantly reduces bloating, gas, and abdominal pain within 1 to 2 weeks of supplementation. It normalizes bowel movements in both constipation and diarrhea, with research demonstrating effectiveness for irritable bowel syndrome, inflammatory bowel disease, and general digestive discomfort. The immune enhancement extends beyond gut health. Research demonstrates lactospore increases white blood cell counts, enhances antibody production, and activates natural killer cells. Studies show regular users experience fewer infections, reduced allergy symptoms, and improved overall immune resilience. The nutrient absorption benefits are substantial. By improving digestive enzyme activity and maintaining optimal gut pH, lactospore enhances the body's ability to extract vitamins, minerals, and amino acids from food. Some research suggests it increases calcium absorption and supports bone health. The shelf stability is remarkable, surviving temperatures up to 90 degrees Celsius without refrigeration. The typical effective dose ranges from 2 to 6 billion spores daily for comprehensive digestive and immune support. Lactobacillus bulgaricus is a thermophilic probiotic originally isolated from Bulgarian yogurt, which inspired its name after researchers discovered Bulgarian peasants consuming this fermented dairy lived exceptionally long, healthy lives. It is naturally in traditional yogurt and other fermented milk products, where it works synergistically with Streptococcus thermophilus to create the characteristic tangy flavor and thick texture of authentic yogurt. The temperature preference sets this strain apart. It thrives at higher temperatures during fermentation, producing lactic acid more rapidly than most probiotics. This aggressive acid production creates an inhospitable environment for spoilage organisms and pathogenic bacteria, effectively preserving food while pre-digesting lactose, making yogurt more tolerable for lactose-sensitive individuals. The primary function involves breaking down milk proteins into bioactive peptides with health-promoting properties. These peptides demonstrate anti-hypertensive effects, helping regulate blood pressure by inhibiting enzymes that constrict blood vessels. Studies show regular consumption of yogurt containing Lactobacillus bulgaricus can lower systolic blood pressure by 5 to 10 points in people with mild hypertension. The cholesterol-lowering benefits are well established. Research demonstrates this strain reduces total cholesterol and LDL cholesterol by binding bile acids in the intestines and preventing their reabsorption. This forces the liver to use circulating cholesterol to produce new bile, effectively lowering blood cholesterol levels. Some studies report reductions of up to 15% with consistent consumption. Digestive health improvements include enhanced lactose digestion through abundant lactase enzyme production. Even people who normally cannot tolerate dairy often digest yogurt containing live Lactobacillus bulgaricus without discomfort. It also supports regular bowel movements and reduces constipation by promoting beneficial bacteria growth. The immune stimulation is significant. This probiotic activates macrophages and increases antibody production, strengthening the body's defense mechanisms. Research shows it produces natural antibiotics that inhibit harmful bacteria, including Salmonella and E. coli. The typical dietary exposure comes from eating yogurt with live cultures, providing billions of colony-forming units per serving for comprehensive digestive and cardiovascular support. Lactobacillus reuteri naturally inhabits the intestinal tract, mouth, skin, and breast milk, making it one of the first probiotics transferred from mother to child. However, modern lifestyles and antibiotic use have led to its decline, with studies showing only 10 to 20% of adults in developed countries still harbor this beneficial bacteria. It can be in some fermented foods and specialized probiotic supplements designed to restore this crucial strain. The unique capability of Lactobacillus reuteri is producing Reuteri, a powerful antimicrobial compound that destroys pathogenic bacteria, yeasts, fungi, and protozoa without harming beneficial microbes. This selective antimicrobial action makes it exceptionally effective at restoring gut balance and preventing infections while preserving the healthy microbiome diversity. The hormone modulation effects are remarkable. Research demonstrates Lactobacillus reuteri increases oxytocin production, often called the love hormone, which influences social behavior, stress response, and wound healing. Animal studies show supplementation leads to improved social interactions, reduced anxiety, and enhanced feelings of well-being, with preliminary human research showing similar benefits. The bone health benefits surprise most people. Clinical trials reveal this probiotic significantly increases bone density by reducing inflammation and modulating immune responses that affect bone metabolism. Women supplementing with Lactobacillus reuteri show measurably stronger bones and reduced osteoporosis risk, making it a potential alternative or complement to traditional bone health interventions. Skin health improvements are visually noticeable. Studies show supplementation increases collagen production, reduces wrinkles, and improves skin thickness and healing. Users report healthier, more youthful-looking skin within weeks, likely due to reduced systemic inflammation and enhanced immune function. The oral health benefits include reduced cavities, gingivitis, and periodontal disease. Lactobacillus reuteri colonizes the mouth and produces antimicrobial substances that specifically target cavity-causing bacteria. Digestive benefits encompass reduced colic in infants, improved constipation, and decreased inflammation in conditions like inflammatory bowel disease. The vitamin production capability supports B12 and folate levels. The typical effective dose ranges from 100 million to 1 billion colony-forming units daily. Bifidobacterium longum is one of the first bacteria to colonize the intestinal tract at birth, establishing residence within days of delivery. It represents one of the most abundant bifidobacteria in healthy adults, naturally inhabiting the colon throughout life. It can be in fermented dairy products, some fermented vegetables, and breast milk, though modern diets and lifestyles have contributed to declining populations in many individuals. The longevity in the gut gives this strain its name. Bifidobacterium longum persists longer than most probiotics after supplementation stops, continuing to provide benefits for weeks. It adheres strongly to intestinal walls and integrates into the existing microbiome, making it one of the most stable and enduring probiotic colonizers available. The primary function involves fermenting dietary fiber into short-chain fatty acids, particularly acetate and lactate. These compounds nourish the intestinal cells, strengthen gut barrier function, and provide energy for colon cells. This fermentation process also lowers intestinal pH, creating an environment where pathogenic bacteria struggle to survive while beneficial species flourish. The mental health benefits are groundbreaking. Clinical studies demonstrate Bifidobacterium longum significantly reduces anxiety and depression symptoms through the gut-brain axis. Research participants report improved stress resilience, better mood, and enhanced cognitive function after 6 to 8 weeks of supplementation. The mechanism involves producing neurotransmitter precursors and reducing stress hormone levels. Digestive benefits include substantial relief from irritable bowel syndrome. Studies show this strain reduces abdominal pain, bloating, and irregular bowel movements while improving overall quality of life. It also demonstrates protective effects against inflammatory bowel disease by modulating immune responses and reducing intestinal inflammation. The immune enhancement is comprehensive. Bifidobacterium longum increases antibody production, activates natural killer cells, and enhances the body's ability to fight infections. Research shows regular users experience fewer respiratory infections and allergic reactions. The antioxidant properties reduce oxidative stress throughout the body. This strain also improves lactose digestion and enhances mineral absorption, particularly calcium and magnesium. The typical effective dose ranges from 1 to 10 billion colony-forming units daily for digestive, immune, and mental health support. Bifidobacterium bifidum is one of the first bacterial colonizers of the intestinal tract, transmitted from mother to infant during birth and through breast milk. It remains a dominant species throughout childhood and adulthood, naturally inhabiting the colon, vaginal tract, and lower small intestine. It can be in fermented dairy products and certain probiotic supplements, though its prevalence in the modern gut has declined due to dietary changes and antibiotic use. The mucus layer colonization makes Bifidobacterium bifidum unique. Unlike most probiotics that attach to intestinal cells, this strain specifically inhabits the protective mucus coating the gut lining. From this position, it creates a defensive barrier that prevents pathogens from reaching and damaging the intestinal walls, essentially acting as a living shield for the digestive system. The primary function involves breaking down complex carbohydrates and plant fibers that the body cannot digest alone. It produces enzymes that ferment these compounds into beneficial short-chain fatty acids that nourish colon cells, reduce inflammation, and support overall gut health. This process also generates B vitamins, including folate, biotin, and vitamin B12. The immune development in infants is critical. Research shows Bifidobacterium bifidum programs immune system maturation during early life, teaching the body to distinguish between harmful pathogens and harmless substances. Adequate colonization in childhood correlates with reduced allergies, eczema, and autoimmune conditions later in life. Digestive benefits include powerful relief from diarrhea and constipation. Clinical studies demonstrate this strain normalizes bowel movements regardless of the underlying issue, whether too frequent or too infrequent. It also reduces gas production, bloating, and abdominal discomfort associated with irritable bowel syndrome. The vaginal health support for women is substantial. Bifidobacterium bifidum maintains optimal pH balance and produces antimicrobial compounds that prevent yeast infections and bacterial vaginosis. Studies show supplementation reduces recurring infections by up to 50%. The pathogen inhibition is exceptional. This strain specifically targets and suppresses harmful bacteria including E. coli, Salmonella, and Clostridium difficile through competitive exclusion and antimicrobial production. Lactobacillus salivarius naturally inhabits the mouth, small intestine, and vaginal tract, forming part of the indigenous microbiome from early life. Named for its abundance in saliva, this probiotic colonizes oral surfaces and the upper digestive tract more effectively than most strains. It is in fermented foods including certain cheeses and fermented vegetables, though supplementation provides more concentrated and reliable amounts. The small intestine colonization distinguishes Lactobacillus salivarius from most probiotics that primarily target the colon. It adheres to the lining of the upper digestive tract where it produces antimicrobial compounds that prevent pathogenic bacteria from establishing residence. This positioning allows it to address digestive issues closer to their source, particularly conditions affecting the stomach and small intestine. The primary function involves producing significant amounts of lactic acid and bacteriocins. natural antibiotics that selectively eliminate harmful bacteria without damaging beneficial species. It also generates hydrogen peroxide that creates an inhospitable environment for pathogens, while supporting the growth of other beneficial microbes throughout the digestive system. The oral health benefits are exceptional. Research demonstrates Lactobacillus salivarius significantly reduces cavity-causing bacteria, decreases plaque formation, and improves gum health. Studies show regular supplementation lowers levels of Streptococcus mutans, the primary bacteria responsible for tooth decay, by up to 80%. Users report fresher breath and reduced gum bleeding within weeks. The small intestinal bacterial overgrowth treatment shows promise. This condition occurs when bacteria overgrow in the small intestine, causing bloating, gas, and nutrient malabsorption. Lactobacillus salivarius helps restore proper bacterial balance in this region, with studies showing symptom improvement in many sufferers. The immune enhancement is substantial. This strain activates immune cells in the gut-associated lymphoid tissue and increases cytokine production that regulates inflammatory responses. Research indicates it reduces inflammation markers associated with chronic diseases and autoimmune conditions. Digestive benefits include reduced bloating and improved bowel regularity. The halitosis reduction is notable, with this probiotic addressing bad breath at its source by eliminating odor-producing bacteria. Lactobacillus rhamnosus naturally inhabits the intestinal tract and vaginal canal, though it also appears in some fermented dairy products like yogurt and cheese. This probiotic has become one of the most extensively researched strains globally, with hundreds of clinical studies documenting its therapeutic applications. The GG strain of Lactobacillus rhamnosus represents the most studied probiotic in the world, establishing this species as a cornerstone of probiotic therapy. The adhesion capability of Lactobacillus rhamnosus is outstanding. It binds exceptionally well to intestinal epithelial cells and mucus layers, allowing it to persist in the digestive system longer than most probiotic strains. This extended residence time translates to sustained benefits, with studies showing it remains detectable for weeks after supplementation ends. The primary function involves producing lactic acid and antimicrobial substances that create an inhospitable environment for pathogens, including E. coli, Salmonella, and Candida. It also strengthens tight junctions between intestinal cells, reducing intestinal permeability and preventing harmful substances from entering the bloodstream, a condition commonly called leaky gut. The diarrhea prevention and treatment benefits are exceptional. Clinical trials demonstrate Lactobacillus rhamnosus reduces antibiotic-associated diarrhea by up to 60% when taken concurrently with antibiotics. It also shortens acute diarrhea duration in children and adults by approximately 2 days, making it a first-line treatment recommended by pediatricians worldwide. The eczema prevention in infants has generated significant attention. Studies show pregnant women and breastfeeding mothers taking Lactobacillus rhamnosus reduce their children's eczema risk by up to 50%. This protective effect extends through early childhood, suggesting long-term immune system programming. Urinary tract infection prevention is remarkable for women. Research indicates regular supplementation reduces recurring UTIs by preventing pathogenic bacteria from adhering to urinary tract walls. Women report fewer infections and reduced antibiotic dependence. The weight management benefits show promise. Some studies suggest Lactobacillus rhamnosus helps reduce body weight and fat mass, particularly in women. Bifidobacterium breve is one of the earliest colonizers of the intestinal tract, establishing residence within the first days after birth, especially in breastfed infants. It naturally inhabits the colon throughout life and appears abundantly in breast milk, playing a crucial role in infant gut development. It is in some fermented dairy products and probiotic supplements, though its levels often decline significantly with age, antibiotic use, and dietary changes. The versatility of Bifidobacterium breve sets it apart. It ferments a wider range of carbohydrates than most bifidobacteria, including plant fibers, human milk oligosaccharides, and resistant starches that other bacteria cannot process. This broad metabolic capability allows it to thrive on diverse dietary patterns and produce beneficial metabolites regardless of what one eats. The primary function involves converting complex carbohydrates into short-chain fatty acids, particularly acetate and lactate, which nourish the colon cells and reduce inflammation. It also produces antimicrobial compounds that suppress pathogenic bacteria, while promoting the growth of other beneficial species, creating a balanced and resilient gut ecosystem. The infant health benefits are remarkable. Clinical studies show Bifidobacterium breve significantly reduces colic, constipation, and digestive discomfort in babies. It also decreases the risk of necrotizing enterocolitis, a potentially fatal intestinal condition in premature infants. Pediatricians increasingly recommend it for establishing healthy gut flora in newborns. The anti-inflammatory properties extend throughout the body. Research demonstrates this strain reduces inflammatory markers associated with inflammatory bowel disease, allergies, and metabolic syndrome. People with Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis report reduced symptom severity and fewer flare-ups with regular supplementation. The skin health improvements are surprising. Studies reveal Bifidobacterium breve enhances skin hydration, reduces acne severity, and alleviates atopic dermatitis symptoms. The mechanism involves reducing systemic inflammation and strengthening gut barrier function, demonstrating the powerful gut-skin connection. Cognitive benefits are emerging in research. This strain appears to influence the gut-brain axis, with studies showing improved anxiety symptoms and stress resilience. Bifidobacterium animalis lactis. Biofolac12 is a specifically isolated and patented strain naturally found in the intestinal tracts of mammals, including humans. Unlike generic Bifidobacterium animalis lactis, Biofolac12 represents a distinct variant with documented genetic markers and clinically verified characteristics. This strain has been selected for its exceptional stability, survival rates, and therapeutic efficacy in targeted health applications. The strain-specific benefits matter significantly. While all Bifidobacterium animalis lactis strains share general characteristics, Biofolac12 has undergone rigorous testing to verify its unique properties. This includes superior acid and bile tolerance, enhanced adhesion to intestinal cells, and specific metabolic activities that distinguish it from other variants within the same species. The primary function involves producing high levels of acetic and lactic acids that rapidly lower intestinal pH, creating an environment where beneficial bacteria flourish while pathogenic organisms cannot survive. Biofolac12 also produces exopolysaccharides, protective compounds that coat the intestinal lining and strengthen barrier function against toxins and harmful bacteria. The digestive regularity benefits are exceptional. Clinical studies specifically using Biofolac12 demonstrate significant improvements in bowel movement frequency and stool consistency for people suffering from constipation. Results typically appear within 1 to 2 weeks, with participants reporting reduced straining, softer stools, and more predictable elimination patterns without causing diarrhea. The immune enhancement is substantial and well documented. Research shows Biofolac12 activates natural killer cells, increases immunoglobulin production, and enhances phagocytic activity. Studies demonstrate regular users experience 25 to 35% fewer upper respiratory infections, shorter illness duration, and reduced symptom severity during cold and flu season. The anti-inflammatory properties extend systemically beyond the gut. This strain reduces inflammatory cytokines associated with chronic diseases and metabolic disorders. Some research suggests improvements in markers related to cardiovascular health and insulin sensitivity. The transit time optimization is noteworthy. Biofolac12 accelerates digestive transit without causing loose stools, promoting optimal nutrient absorption while preventing waste accumulation. The typical effective dose ranges from 1 to 10 billion colony-forming units daily. Lactobacillus delbrueckii is a thermophilic probiotic naturally occurring in fermented foods, particularly Bulgarian yogurt, Swiss cheese, and other cultured dairy products. This species includes several subspecies, with Lactobacillus delbrueckii subspecies bulgaricus being the most recognized for yogurt production. Named after microbiologist Max Delbruck, this probiotic has been consumed safely for thousands of years through traditional fermentation practices across European and Middle Eastern cultures. The high temperature tolerance distinguishes Lactobacillus delbrueckii from most probiotic strains. It thrives at temperatures between 40 and 45 degrees Celsius, making it ideally suited for dairy fermentation processes. This thermophilic nature allows it to outcompete spoilage organisms during fermentation, while producing the characteristic tangy flavor and creamy texture associated with quality yogurt. The primary function involves rapid and efficient lactose fermentation. Lactobacillus delbrueckii converts milk sugar into lactic acid more aggressively than most strains, creating highly acidic conditions that preserve food and pre-digest lactose. This makes fermented products containing this bacteria significantly more digestible for lactose-intolerant individuals, with many reporting they can consume yogurt without the bloating and discomfort associated with regular dairy. The digestive enzyme production is substantial. This strain generates proteolytic enzymes that break down milk proteins into bioavailable peptides and amino acids, enhancing protein absorption and reducing potential allergenicity. It also produces exopolysaccharides, beneficial compounds that support intestinal health and create the thick, creamy consistency in fermented products. The immune stimulation benefits are noteworthy. Research demonstrates Lactobacillus delbrueckii activates immune cells in the gut-associated lymphoid tissue and increases antibody production. Studies show regular consumption enhances the body's ability to fight infections and may reduce the severity of allergic responses. The antimicrobial properties help suppress pathogenic bacteria. This strain produces bacteriocins and organic acids that inhibit harmful microorganisms, including Listeria and Staphylococcus. Some research suggests it may reduce Helicobacter pylori populations in the stomach, potentially lowering ulcer risk. Pediococcus acidilactici is a lactic acid bacteria naturally found in fermented foods, including sauerkraut, kimchi, pickles, and fermented meats like salami and pepperoni. This probiotic also appears in fermented vegetables, silage, and various traditional fermented products worldwide. Unlike many probiotics associated primarily with dairy, Pediococcus acidilactici thrives in plant-based fermentations, making it particularly relevant for people following vegetarian or vegan diets. The acid tolerance of Pediococcus acidilactici is exceptional. It survives and remains active in highly acidic environments that destroy most bacteria, including stomach acid with pH levels below 3. This remarkable resilience ensures high viability rates through digestive transit, allowing substantial numbers to reach the intestines where they exert therapeutic effects. The primary function involves producing significant amounts of lactic acid and pediosin, a potent antimicrobial peptide. Pediosin demonstrates broad-spectrum activity against foodborne pathogens, including Listeria monocytogenes, making this probiotic valuable for food safety and digestive protection. It creates an intestinal environment where harmful bacteria cannot establish residence, while beneficial microbes flourish. The immune enhancement is substantial and well documented. Research demonstrates Pediococcus acidilactici activates macrophages, increases cytokine production, and enhances both innate and adaptive immune responses. Studies show regular consumption reduces infection rates, particularly respiratory and gastrointestinal infections, with some trials reporting 30 to 40% fewer sick days among supplemented groups. The cholesterol-lowering benefits deserve attention. Clinical trials reveal this strain can reduce total cholesterol and LDL cholesterol levels by binding bile acids in the intestines and promoting their excretion. This forces the liver to use circulating cholesterol to produce new bile, effectively lowering blood cholesterol concentrations. The antioxidant properties make Pediococcus acidilactici unique among probiotics. It produces antioxidant enzymes and compounds that neutralize free radicals, reducing oxidative stress and cellular damage throughout the body. Research suggests this may contribute to anti-aging effects and reduced chronic disease risk. Bacteriophages are viruses that specifically target and destroy bacteria without harming human cells, representing a revolutionary approach to microbiome management. The 4 strains LH01 myoviridae, LL5 cyfoviridae, T4D myoviridae, and LL12 myoviridae are carefully selected phages that naturally occur in environments where bacteria thrive, including soil, water, and the human gut. These specific phages target harmful bacterial strains while leaving beneficial probiotics completely unaffected. The precision targeting makes bacteriophages extraordinary. Unlike antibiotics that indiscriminately kill both good and bad bacteria, each phage strain attacks only specific pathogenic bacteria. LH01 myoviridae and T4D myoviridae belong to the myoviridae family, characterized by contractile tails that inject genetic material into target bacteria. LL5 cyfoviridae and LL12 myoviridae use different mechanisms but achieve the same result, identifying and eliminating specific harmful bacterial species. The primary function involves attaching to target bacteria, injecting genetic material, and hijacking bacterial machinery to replicate. Within minutes, the bacteria burst open, releasing hundreds of new phages that continue the cycle until harmful bacterial populations are eliminated. This process occurs naturally in the gut without causing inflammation or damage to human tissue. The microbiome balancing benefits are remarkable. By selectively removing pathogenic bacteria that cause bloating, inflammation, and digestive discomfort, These phages create space for beneficial probiotics to flourish. Studies show phage therapy rapidly reduces symptoms associated with bacterial overgrowth, often within 48 to 72 hours, faster than traditional probiotic approaches alone. The antibiotic-resistant solution represents a critical advantage. Bacteriophages work against antibiotic-resistant bacteria that modern medicine struggles to treat. As bacteria evolve resistance mechanisms, phages co-evolve to overcome these defenses, making them perpetually effective where antibiotics fail. The safety profile is exceptional. Phages have been used therapeutically for over a century with minimal side effects. They self-regulate, multiplying only while target bacteria exist, then naturally declining once their job completes. Archaea and eukaryotic microorganisms represent two distinct categories of microbes that inhabit the gut alongside bacteria, forming a complete and balanced microbiome. Archaea are single-celled organisms without a nucleus, naturally found in extreme environments like hot springs and salt lakes, but also residing in the intestinal tract. Eukaryotic microorganisms include fungi, protozoa, and other complex single-celled organisms with nuclei, occurring naturally in fermented foods, soil, water, and throughout the digestive system. The methane production function distinguishes archaea from other gut inhabitants. Methanogenic archaea, particularly Methanobrevibacter smithii, consume hydrogen and carbon dioxide produced during food fermentation, converting them into methane gas. This process prevents hydrogen buildup that would otherwise slow digestion, maintaining optimal fermentation efficiency and supporting the metabolic activities of beneficial bacteria. The primary function of eukaryotic microorganisms varies by type. Beneficial fungi like Saccharomyces species aid digestion and produce enzymes that break down complex carbohydrates. Certain protozoa help regulate bacterial populations, preventing any single species from dominating. These eukaryotes create microbial diversity that strengthens overall gut resilience and adaptability to dietary changes. The digestive efficiency benefits are substantial. Archaea improve the breakdown of complex fibers and resistant starches by working synergistically with bacteria. This microbial cooperation extracts more energy and nutrients from food, particularly from plant-based materials that would otherwise pass through undigested. People with optimal archaeal populations often report better energy levels and more complete digestion. The metabolic health improvements show promise in research. Studies indicate proper archaeal balance influences body weight regulation and energy metabolism. Some evidence suggests that imbalanced archaeal populations, particularly excess methanogens, may correlate with obesity and metabolic dysfunction, though research continues to clarify these relationships. The immune system training provided by eukaryotic microorganisms is valuable. Exposure to diverse microbial types, including non-bacterial organisms, educates the immune system to distinguish between harmless and harmful invaders. This exposure reduces inappropriate immune responses like allergies and autoimmune reactions. The microbial ecosystem stability represents a crucial benefit. The ingredients: organic agave inulin and organic gum acacia are not probiotics, but prebiotics, specialized plant fibers that serve as food for beneficial bacteria in the gut. Agave inulin is extracted from the agave plant native to Mexico, the same plant used to produce tequila. Organic gum acacia, also called acacia fiber, comes from the sap of acacia trees found primarily in Africa and the Middle East. Both have been used for centuries in traditional medicine and food preparation. The primary function of these prebiotics is feeding the beneficial gut bacteria. Unlike probiotics that add new bacteria to the system, prebiotics nourish the beneficial microbes already residing in the intestines. The body cannot digest these fibers, so they pass intact to the colon, where probiotic bacteria ferment them into short-chain fatty acids that provide numerous health benefits. The selective feeding mechanism makes prebiotics powerful. Agave inulin specifically feeds bifidobacteria and lactobacilli, promoting their growth while not supporting pathogenic bacteria. This selective nourishment amplifies the effectiveness of probiotics, whether from supplements or naturally occurring in the gut. Studies show prebiotic supplementation can increase beneficial bacteria populations by up to 10 times within just 2 weeks. The digestive regularity benefits are immediate and noticeable. Organic gum acacia is exceptionally gentle, adding bulk to stool and promoting regular bowel movements without causing gas or bloating that other fibers produce. It dissolves completely in water, making it easy to consume. Users report improved consistency and frequency within days of starting supplementation. The blood sugar regulation benefits are scientifically validated. Agave inulin slows carbohydrate absorption, preventing blood sugar spikes after meals. Research shows regular consumption improves insulin sensitivity and helps maintain stable glucose levels throughout the day, making it particularly beneficial for people managing diabetes or metabolic syndrome. The calcium absorption enhancement is remarkable. Studies demonstrate that inulin increases calcium and magnesium absorption by up to 20%, supporting bone density and reducing osteoporosis risk. The mechanism involves short-chain fatty acids produced during fermentation that improve mineral solubility and uptake. The satiety and weight management effects help control appetite. Most people think probiotics are all the same, but when you combine 24 different strains with prebiotics and bacteriophages, something incredible happens in your gut. Your intestinal lining becomes a battlefield where trillions of organisms work together like a symphony. Bacillus coagulans and Bacillus subtilis are the survivors. They're spore-forming bacteria that pass through your stomach acid unharmed, then germinate in your intestines to crowd out pathogens. Bacillus clausii does the same thing, producing antimicrobial substances that kill bad bacteria while surviving antibiotics. The Lactobacillus family, including Acidophilus, Plantarum, Casei, and Rhamnosus, colonize your small intestine and produce lactic acid that drops the pH, making it impossible for harmful bacteria to thrive. They also manufacture B vitamins and enhance nutrient absorption. Lactobacillus gasseri specifically targets belly fat, while Reuteri produces Reuterin, a powerful antimicrobial compound. The bifidobacterium strains, Longum, Bifidum, Breve, and Animalis lactis, dominate your colon. They break down complex carbohydrates, produce short-chain fatty acids that feed your colon cells, and strengthen your intestinal barrier. Saccharomyces boulardii is different. It's a beneficial yeast that protects against antibiotic-associated diarrhea and fights Clostridium difficile infections. Now here's where it gets wild. The 4 bacteriophages, LHO1, LL5, T4D, and LL12, are viruses that only attack harmful bacteria, leaving your beneficial strains untouched. They're like precision-guided missiles for pathogens. Organic agave inulin and gum acacia feed all these probiotics, helping them multiply and produce metabolites that reduce inflammation throughout your entire body. Archaea and eukaryotic microorganisms complete the ecosystem, communicating through chemical signals that regulate your immune system, mood, and even brain function through the gut-brain axis. This isn't just digestion. This is total body transformation from the inside out.
Now, let's make ultimate probiotic yogurt together. So this really sticks on, so it rips up really well, and so it came apart on me. But I wanted to show you that they put cotton there to, absorb all the excess air, and then you have your probiotics that come out. And then what I like to do personally is I tend to like to put the little bit there, but I'll use my old bottle lid because it's the same size, so I can get a really good seal. But see here, I can put it on there, and that way it's got that cushion seal, so it tends to stay fresher, I think, than if I don't have that kind of seal on it. I noticed that if I just put the lid back on like this, that the probiotics or whatever product I'm using, it doesn't tend to stay as fresh as if I put that little piece back on. Just as a little FYI for any of you that's trying to do something like this. So, okay, we're going to open this up, and it's actually sealed really well. That's right. There we go. And you can see it's just, it's not a huge capsule, but that's a good sized capsule, people. Our 2 tablespoons of our prebiotic fiber that's from Cutting Edge Cultures, like we did when we first did the Reuteri or we first did our SIBO yogurt. And you have to give it those good guys, right? To give it the facilitation for everything to happen. So let's do that together. It's scooped out. So 1. I keep getting the, what's it called? Let me just take that out. I keep getting that in my scoop, which is good. It's just not good when you're trying to scoop 2. Okay, I'm gonna put that back in. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm purposefully, before I add any product, is I'm gonna stir that together. Now you may be like, well, why are you stirring? It's just powder and powder. Well, I have learned that if I stir my probiotics with my prebiotic fiber before I add liquid. It tends to be less clumpy when I start adding the liquid. So that's why I'm stirring it in advance. Okay, so now shake it up.
Fill your milk.
Yeah, I'm gonna shake it up, and I am using, let me show you this. I'm using the, oh, there we go. I'm using heavy cream as usual because I've learned with my yogurt and these cultures in general that everything comes out better with just using solid heavy cream. Now I am going to be doing a test shortly here of heavy cream that you can technically order online, and I will be sharing that so that we can see how it does if it's not this, and potentially help you guys that are trying to get a quality heavy cream that is just heavy cream without having to get xanthan gum or what have you, or guar gum in your product. So I will be sharing that here, and on this I'm just going to do a little bit at a time because I want everything to be well mixed first. And I've learned that if I do slow and steady on this, everything will integrate well and we'll have a really great little to no clump when I get my result. And we want to do our best to dissolve everything into the cream. And you can see here at the bottom, it's not sticking as much. Now I see a little bit on the side there where I need to scrape it into the cream, but in general you can see that everything's coming together really well, huh?
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
I like how you get it stirred together. And it's so smooth.
Well, I think as a consumer you really like it.
That's right. I'm your biggest fan.
Oh, aren't you sweet? I love it. But I have learned, and see here how it's already gotten thick. See that? That's what you're looking for. That means you integrated everything very well. If you're still seeing some clumps, then you just want to take some time to love on it. And just make, and then what I always like to do too is take it to the side, and I like to do a little bit of a scrape here, and that's because I've learned sometimes with my spoon things will stick on the end, and I want to make sure it all gets in there and well integrated. And I learned that a while back. I was like, oh, I think I'm missing some cultures and some prebiotic fiber, and so I've learned if I just scrape the side. And I've also found that if I do it in this glass container, and this is actually a 8-cup glass pitcher container. It's actually a measuring cup. You can see it has the pour spout and the handle. So when it comes time to putting it into my yogurt maker, it makes it so much easier, and I don't have to worry about an additional container or trying to get out measuring spoons because I can do it all right here. So that's one thing I do want to caveat is you might want to take some time just to invest in a good, I found this thing years ago at Crate and Barrel. It was in Charlotte, and when I saw it and it came with a lid, I got all excited because I was making cheesecake at the time, and I was really wanting an easy way of having it all in one container and easily accessible and mixable and pourable. And I was like, Mom, I need an 8-cup measuring cup. I need an 8-cup measuring cup. And I kept asking for it, and then all of a sudden, lo and behold, there one was. And so that's how come I now use this so much. I use this so much, and in instances where you wouldn't think, oh, you know, don't need a 8-cup. Trust me, you will find many instances in which
when we found this, we got so excited.
Oh, I remember. Okay, I think I've got this well stirred, and if you can, I don't know how well you can see this, but I don't see a lot of clumps now because I did that pre-mixing, and I did
That's
that
right, you did it so thoroughly.
Yeah, and you want to make sure you get that so that when it comes time to actually put this in your yogurt maker, everything's going to incorporate and have been incorporated. So I'm going to finish pouring all this in now, and we're going to get up to 6 cups or 1.5 quarts for those of you that prefer the quarts approach. But that's what we're aiming for. So let me add this.
I think you mentioned before, even though we buy this directly from the farm,
You can get this at the local stores. And
our
they actually,
local Whole Foods carried
Yes.
it. So I don't know what everybody else's Whole Foods would have, but
That's true.
it might be worth checking into.
Yes. In our Whole Foods, and I actually put it on our, I think it was Aaron Day video, that it shows that they actually flag it as a locally produced and displayed product. They actually put the word local on it and say where it's from and everything, which is really nice. And I wanted to show you guys that it's not just at the local farm, but they sell it at the local county store. They also sell it at Whole Foods, and I'm sure there's a few other stores that carry it. I just haven't been to them yet, so I can't say for sure. But I know those two specifically carry it, which is the Shiloh General Store, and then also the Whole Foods Market store does as well. Okay, I think we're looking good here. Look at that.
Okay.
So we're gonna go over to our yogurt maker center because it is a center with all the yogurt makers we got there. But we enjoy our yogurt, and we'll do next steps there. Okay, so let me pull this out, and we're going to get our lid off. Okay, and then I always do inside of lid to inside of lid to maintain the sanitization of this, so that way everything's just sanitary. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this, give it another quick stir, because sometimes if you give it a little bit of time, it'll kind of settle. And so I feel like it's good to give it another quick stir before
It's integrated well.
Yes, and that way too I can make sure everything's stirred well and there's no potential separation before I pour it in. That's just my thought process, because I've seen over time, you know, like it's kind of like when you add something to water and you just see it float to the bottom.
Exactly.
And you're like, I put you on the top, why aren't you floating on the top? I know it goes to the bottom. So then we're gonna do 3 cups approximately into each one, and I'm gonna do my best to try and reach the 3-cup mark. So I'll do a little bit into each one before I top them off, because I need to try and keep these even as much as possible. Okay, and then I'm gonna go to the other one. Okay, and then this should finish it off. Okay, that's pretty even for that. Yeah, I think that's always the challenging part, is trying to make them as even as possible. Okay, so we're gonna put our lids on, and then always press down on the lid when you put it on to make sure you get all the air out. That's what I see, you can hear it on that one. But always press it down, so you should fill it in. If you don't, lift up the corner and then press down again, because you want to make sure you feel that indentation on this particular brand in the lid. Okay, now we're going to add approximately 4 cups of water, and just so you know, this is filtered water at room temperature, and my cream was at room temperature as well. So everything I'm doing is at room temperature, and this time also the starter culture was at room temperature just because of the brand, and it doesn't require any kind of special refrigeration or anything. And so we're going to pour that in.
Oh, that's nice.
And yeah, we're at the line, because you're looking to get to the yogurt line. And let's put our lid on. I'm gonna slide that in to get it out of the way, of course. And then that's number 2 for number 2, plug in. So let's get that. Yeah, I labeled them. That way I don't accidentally unplug the wrong one, especially when I'm doing multiples. I'm gonna do the minus to get down to 99. We'll hit start, and then we're gonna do the minus to reverse it so we get to the 36 hours quicker. And there we go, 36. So now we're gonna come back in 36 hours. Then we'll put it in, dry it off, put it in the fridge, and do next steps. So it's flashing that it's finished. So we're going to unplug it, turn off the power, lift the lid, I always lift it away so I don't get a mess all over the place. Do a quick wipe. Oh. Try and lift that delicately. See, oh wow, I see very little separation.
Wow.
If any. I think it's,
Wow.
I think I see just a hair of separation.
That is just wonderful.
What was that, baby?
That's wonderful, honey.
Yeah, I'm excited. Well, this should be a really good batch. But this is also a first batch, so when I see very little separation.
Oh, first batch.
I mean, look at that. It's not, it's like maybe a hair's width.
Whoa.
I don't know if you can see that.
I can. That's wonderful.
And that's a first batch with no starter of any kind.
Congratulations, high five, and all that.
I mean, look at that.
Is wonderful.
It's just a hair. I mean, it's not even the width of my finger. That's how awesome that is. Okay, so we're gonna put this in the fridge.
Okay.
Let it cool down and thicken at the same time. And then we'll come back and just, I'm gonna give it my standard 8 hours at least. And then we'll see how it did. It has now been 8 hours later. And let's see how our first batch with just the culture of the ultimate probiotics has turned out yogurt-wise. So, obviously I had a little bit of liquid on my lid that went in. Ooh!
Look at that.
Now that is luxurious. Now I do see water. See that? But we knew we have a little bit. But let's see how it does overall. Ooh. This is very luxurious. Huh. I mean, look at that.
That is fantastic.
And see, I don't see as much. You know how sometimes I'll get those clumps and then I'm like trying to press out the clumps? I don't feel that so much with this.
And this is the first batch.
Yep.
Oh my goodness.
Look at that. That's actually quite luxurious.
This is the best yet, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I didn't start with the SIBO like I did the other one. I just started with the culture and then the cream. And I mean, look at how smooth this is. I mean, I don't feel or see really, I mean, I see a few clumps when I do that, you know, like right there. But overall, I mean, look at how smooth that is.
I bet your second and third
Will be even better.
Super thick.
Yeah, and see, the thing is, look at how it's coating the spoon. And see, I know if I give this time, because see how it's also making lines and you can kind of see where it's making implants with it. I think if I give this time in the fridge, it'll thicken up even more.
Oh, that's a good point.
Because that's
usually
what
once it sits in the fridge after you stirred it,
it always gets.
it gets thicker.
Okay, so I'm going to do the other one here, because remember, it makes 2 batches. So let's see.
This is the best yet, I do believe.
Yep, let's see how this one did. Okay, so I always like to go in the center and see how, now see this one? Look at that, I don't see as much water in this one. And see, it had a little bit more of a crusting. See that? It's almost like a jello. See how I move it and the whole thing moves? Now I do see, now see right there, it had a little bit of water. Let's see how much we get there. So it's not bad though. And it's not like traditional whey collar. So I think this is a huge improvement from my
I think we've got a
Reuteri.
winner.
Yeah, I think this is way better. And see, it's got see, look at how smooth that looks.
Wow.
And see, this is batch 1 smoothness.
I want to see how it does after it's refrigerated again.
Okay, so what we'll do is we'll
Just
put
come
this.
back to it before.
Yeah, so what I'll do, because this is nighttime, because we waited our needed 8 hours,
Yeah.
is I'll stir this here. We'll stir both of them because they're both kind of doing the same thing. But I mean, look at how smooth that is. Even how the results are.
I love that.
Yeah.
Love it.
But what we'll do is we'll put this in the fridge because based on my experience and history is once I've stirred it and then I let it chill again or cool.
It gets another level of thickness.
Yeah, and then it becomes more like a Greek yogurt and I don't have to have any product loss or separation that I need to do. And I found that when I did this SIBO starter with this culture, because I did do that as well, that it was almost like a sweetness, but I could taste it was a fermented sweetness.
Exactly,
and I think my body craved it better, and my stomach actually liked this a lot better than it did the SIBO.
Well, how many strains is in this?
Well, my capsule, because it's before the 6-month change they did a bit ago, I've got 36 strains, and the new bottle only has 33 strains.
Okay.
So there's a bit of a difference, but the majority of the ingredients are still the same.
But before, when you made yogurt, you had
like one or two
strains.
maybe 3 max.
This seems to be more balanced to me.
Not just balanced, but I think it's balanced, and because you're facilitating more gut healthy friendly bacteria and probiotics, that this is going to be more beneficial to the body and long-term health. Because let's be frank, our gut is filled with tons, and I mean they actually say we're mainly bacteria. That's what I've heard scientists say, is we are mainly bacteria. So when we are facilitating the bacteria in our gut to be prolific, to be healthy, to be encouraged to grow, and help us and us help them when it's the good guys, I have to clarify, then I see this being the better option, the better long-term health beneficial yogurt than doing just 1 or even 3 strains with SIBO. And I realize this has the same strains, or the strains that are in a Reuteri and the SIBO yogurt are in here. So you're not losing anything with going this route instead of doing the SIBO and trying to get 3 cultures. Or this is, I think, the better approach, because you're not having to spend so much on buying multiple different cultures. You can just buy the one, fully complete with tons of strains in it, probiotic, and you get the 3 that you need if you're needing to go the SIBO route, but you're also facilitating other health in the gut as well. So I think cost-wise and long-term health-wise, I think this is the better option and route to take if one is looking to heal their gut and their microbiome and their health restoration. It's been a few hours since I did my initial stir, since it came off, and I wanted to show you guys how it's looking, so we'll find out together. Ooh, that looks beautiful. Okay, let's take a look. Oh,
wow. Wow. That's the best of any.
Yeah, look at that.
That's the best ever.
Okay, now I'm going to go down deeper, see if we've got any separation.
Look at that.
I'm not seeing any separation. Now I see it's a little bit maybe more liquidy there at the bottom. See how it moves at the bottom?
That's perfect,
But,
though.
I mean, look at that. This is batch 1, Mom. Look at that.
It's batch 1, and it's purely from the capsule
and the heavy cream, and we don't have any other culture, but look at the top layer, how I move it and it pretty much holds. Now the bottom, I do see some movement, but that's not huge. But look at how it's holding its shape.
Wow.
I mean, that is luxurious, especially for a first batch. I've never had a first batch do this.
None of the other batches, because the other batches to get to this point
took a while.
You had to do several.
Yeah, we had to do a lot of
them. So this is first time, strictly from capsule, no inoculation from another culture. No.
It was just the one ultimate probiotic capsule, our heavy cream, and then of course our prebiotic fiber with processing at 99 degrees, 36 hours. I did do that initial stirring, but this is how it's doing after that initial stir, because we haven't consumed anything out of this particular one. But I mean, for me to move it and it pretty much hold its shape like that,
Wow.
that is like, that's better.
And what we like about them is that this has
All the strands from the
the,
SIBO.
a broad spectrum of this.
Yes,
Of
the
stra-
broad
yeah.
I think my favorite part is the broad spectrum. And one thing that I do want to mention, because at least what I've been doing, and I'm really loving, is I'll have this at night, because I made 2 containers of this, and this is the second one, but I divvied into the other one. And what I'm loving to do is to take this at night, and I like adding a little bit of my inulin to it just to give it, you know, kind of like a good start in my gut, even though it has all that, and to kind of facilitate them growing more as I'm consuming it. So it's kind of like I'm giving them the energy to multiply even more, but in my gut when I eat it. And I have that at night. If I'll either do it as my meal replacement for dinner, or I'll have it after a light dinner. And I found that it really helps with digestion, so that if I go to sleep at night, I feel like I'm sleeping better, and I am. I'm definitely sleeping better. And I feel like I'm digesting my food better, and I'm not going to sleep feeling like I'm hungry or like my stomach's upset, because sometimes I'll eat something and if it's too close to my bedtime, I feel like it might upset my stomach at times. But when I've had this, it's like it goes in, it just calms everything down in a positive way. I feel like I'm actually getting the results with this product that I didn't with the others. I mean, that's just what I'm seeing in like the first week of doing this, because I started with the SIBO starter from my prior yogurt, and then I incorporated a capsule of the Ultimate Probiotic Yogurt. But I found that if I did this, that I just feel like this on its own, I think it's like it's the perfect blend of everything, that it's really going in with that inulin I'm taking at night, and it's just really facilitating a positive experience in my body, is what it feels like to
Oh,
me.
congratulations, babe, because this looks like it's the winner.
Well, I mean, look at how it's holding on the spoon. I mean, none of them typically hold this well on the spoon unless I've done batches and batches and batches worth. And that's hoping everything's gone
And
smoothly.
even at that, though, this seems to have a smoother.
I mean, look at how smooth this is. I've never had them be this smooth. And I usually have like, I want to say it's like, sometimes it'll have like a chunkiness to it that I've got to stir.
Just a few chunks through it.
This has no separation. This has no water once I did that initial stir. Now I see the bottom is just a little bit, you know, if I push it, it collapses, but on the top, it's not doing that. But to have the lack of separation here, and to have the health benefits that I feel that we're experiencing, if I were to choose between all the yogurts I've made to date, this would actually be the one I would go for.
This is the ultimate.
Because it is truly, in my experience, the ultimate probiotic yogurt hint, that one can have in one's life.